So thanks everyone for joining Jesse's webinar series here today. Yeah, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm James Gibson. I'm one of the solution account managers here at JASCI. We also have Joe Rist, who's going to be leading our webinar today. Joe, would you like to make an introduction?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Joe Rist. I'm the Director of Solution Sales at JASCI, and I'll be guiding us through the webinar that we have today. And we actually have a whole bunch of webinars coming up following this, so we hope to see you all at the rest of them as well.
Perfect. So today's meeting and well webinar is going to be on Jesse's system navigation. So Joe here is going to go through the system, go through some of our login and access tools, right? Permission-based access tools. He'll go over our single sign-on capabilities as well as some of the menu profiles that a user would typically be needing, right, in Jesse, as well as some of our dashboards, right? The typical dashboards that you'd see when you log into Jesse that go over your system and the reports that align with them, as well as some of the device setup and lookups, as well as our learning center, which details out some of the features that Jesse has, right, for when customers need to look something up. So, Joe, I'll hand things over to you and we can kick things off. If there's any questions, I'll be looking in the chat.
Great. Can you see my screen?
Uh, I'll stop sharing and hopefully you should be able to. Um, Not as of yet, Joe. Oh, there we go. I can see it.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. All right, so thanks for joining us, everybody. We're going to be talking about the system navigation today, and what that's going to start with is at the actual access of JASCI and logging into it, and we're going to talk a little bit about that first. So, as you'll see, I'm doing today's demonstration or webinar on Google Chrome is what I'm using as my internet browser. JASCI is a browser-based software, so whichever computer, laptop, tablet, phone, mobile device, RF device, whatever device you're on, you're going to be using an internet browser to access JASCI. And you'll go to the URL that's provided to you, and that's how you then get to this login screen and be able to access the software. Now, the URL that I'm using today is you see this UAT, that's our sandbox environment. That's where I live in for these webinars and my demonstrations. But it's something that we provide to all of our customers when they come on with JASCI. We have a sandbox environment where you're able to build up your WMS to match your operations, and then you're able to do your testing and training in there before you go live with the system. Now we give you this sandbox to have after you go live as well, in case you want to test out any, new functionality, or maybe you found an optimization you want to try out. Now we give you a separate link for your production environment once you are live on the system, and that's also how you access JASCI from mobile devices. We're going to talk more about mobile devices a little bit later, but to access JASCI is performed the same way. So we like to say that we are device agnostic, meaning that whatever device you're on, as long as you have an internet a connection and an internet browser, you're going to be able to access JASCI. Now, we do have some recommendations when it comes to things like performance, which we can provide to you if you do have questions about that. Um, so accessing JASCII is the same way. I'm already logged in on this mobile device, but you'll see here on our screen when we're at the URL, it's asking us to enter our credentials. So you'll have a user ID and a password. Now, a very popular thing that our customer base has been going towards lately is single sign-on. So we have single sign-on capabilities with this login with SSO button, and that's actually leveraging the SAML 2.0 logic. So we've had this in for a while now, and a lot more and more of our customers are going towards single sign-on. And that's going to be basically automatically entering your credentials without having to kind of keep track of a particular user ID and password. Um, Now, when you're creating users, you can provide them with a user ID and password, and their first time logging into the system, it will prompt them to change their password. So that makes it easier to help with new employee setup. So you'll see I've already got my credentials plugged in. I've got them saved there, so I'm just going to hit the login button. And this is going to bring us to select our company and fulfillment center. And this is where I wanted to talk about the architecture of JASCI. So in JASCI's architecture, we are a multi-tenant platform, meaning that we have one cloud base, one version of the software that every single one of our customers is on, and then they all just leverage it differently. And you'll learn more about that as we go into webinars on our microservice technology, and really gain an appreciation of how JASCI's architected, so that we don't have to have you go through updates and upgrades and constantly bring down the system because one of our other customers wants to, do something different. The way that we're constructed is to be a multi-tenant platform. Now, within each of our tenants, which is our customers, you can then have multiple companies, which you see here, the company selection. This is most commonly used for our 3PL customers where they want to separate their own clients by location and orders and integrations and even, operational processes. You can have separate workflows for each of your clients. Or you can also have them within one company, and actually separate them by either the end customer or the supplier. So we'll talk about that more as we go into our 3PL webinars. This is the most commonly used industry, though, for our multi-company technology. We do have some other customers where they have kind of an umbrella of companies, and each one of their brands or companies under that umbrella might be a company in JASCI. Today, we're going to go into my demo client. Now, my user is set up to have access to those several clients, and my user also has access to several fulfillment centers that we have set up within JASCI. So you'll see here the 6 different fulfillment centers that I'd be able to sign into and perform work or do lookups in our reporting tool, which we're going to talk a little bit about the reporting tool later today with the dashboard. And then we're going to have a dedicated webinar to our built-in reporting tool because it's very powerful. It's basically a BI tool built right into the platform. Um, and if you're using that reporting tool, you don't have to log into each fulfillment center to see data for them. You could just log into one and use a filter to look across the whole tenancy. So you'll see I have access to the 6 different buildings. I'm just going to go into my demonstration fulfillment center. Now we'll do some more webinars in the future on a process that we have for copying companies and creating new companies quickly on the fly. JASCI is very much set up for self-service configuration. So we have tools where you can quickly copy a new client over. And same thing if you are trying to bring the software into a new building, we have tools that make it a much faster process by just basically cloning the software into a new fulfillment center virtually. And we'll talk about that in some further demos. So now that we're logged in, we've talked about the login and access. We've talked about single sign-on. We've talked about our multi-tenant and multi-facility architecture. Now I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing on these screens. So the first thing you'll see, and you see this on both the full screen, which is up here. I'm highlighting these black cells, they're turning red, and also on our mobile device. You can see them here. These are menu profiles, and JASCI works with what's called a menu profile assignment. That's how you can dictate which team member or employee has access to which menu options or workflows, reports, lookups, etc. That's done with a menu profile assignment. So the profiles that are assigned to my user, you can see displayed across the top here. And all JASCI users have a separate set of mobile profiles that will load when they log in from a mobile device because you're typically doing separate types of functions on a mobile device versus a full screen. And you have complete control over this for all employees. Um, and within each one of these profiles, it contains menu options. So you can perform or do different tasks based on which profiles are assigned to you. And you can also dictate which menu options are in those profiles. Um, so you'll see here as I go to that one dash inbound and into the receiving submenu, you'll see all the different workflows that I have that are associated with receiving. You can see a few options that I have here for put away that are assigned to my user or to this profile that my user has. So this is how we organize JASCI's workflows, lookups, reporting functions. Anything that you need to access within JASCI is typically done through these menu profiles. The only other thing that we have to access functionality is down here below, which is the dashboard, which we're going to talk about next. Before I start to talk about the dashboard, have there been any questions so far in the chat, or is anybody wondering anything about that login or the single sign-on, the multi-tenant, or these menu profiles?
Not as of yet, Joe, but I'll let you know if they pop up.
Okay, great. So next we're going to talk about this dashboard. So you'll see, actually, I should mention one more thing about our menus profiles because we do have a lot of menus out there. And I wanted to show off a new tool from JASCI. Some of you that are using JASCI currently, if you've been a customer for a while, thank you. And we wanted to show you a new function that we have up here, which is you'll see has the search menu. It's a search bar. And we can type in something that we'd like to find. Like, let's say I wanted to find a receiving flow. I can start to type in that word and it's going to find me that workflow instead of having to navigate through the menus. Maybe if you're helping somebody that's not using the same menu profiles as you, and you need to help quickly get them to a specific workflow or to a specific screen, you can search it up here in the top. So that's something that we very recently added in and we're very happy to provide to our customer base. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the dashboards. So you'll see there's a dashboard that shows here once we log in, if we have access to this reporting tool, it's going to show us our snapshots. Now we have other dashboards as well that are geared towards different operational tendencies. So you'll see we have one for inbound, which is really zooming in on the receipts and the putaways and the dock to stock time. We have one for outbound, which is going to show you your various types of picks and by zone that they're in and how many orders that you still have to ship. We have one on locations and planning. This is going to show you your location snapshots and inventory details and empty locations, things like that. And a whole bunch of other different crafted dashboards. The one that we have on the screen first, though, called snapshots, that's going to be like a quick number to get a good idea of the health of your warehouse when it comes to either orders or inventory or cycle counts that need to happen. Maybe if one of your big concerns is putaways not getting done fast enough because and it's holding up, the allocation and picking process. You have a put away snapshot here that'll show you how many have been completed today, how many are open, how many are actively being worked on. And we're showing you that for all these different types of work that are within JASCI. And we're going to have a lot of webinars on these different features. For example, the put away, I think that's coming up in maybe 2 webinars from now. We're going to talk about different put away strategies that JASCI has built in. We have a few different workflows for it. We'll also have one on inventory control, like your cycle counts and location checks. We have a whole range of replenishment controls that we'll have a webinar on as well. Um, and also order download. A big part of JASCI's, why people are drawn to it. And one of our biggest differentiators is that we are an omni-channel system and we're able to download all different types of orders from multiple order sources. And that allows us to really have one system that all different types of orders, B2B, direct to customer, they're all going to be flowing through the same funnel and getting their appropriate work types. And so we're going to have a whole webinar on order download, work type assignment, prioritization, cartonization. That's going to be a really good one. Um, so we have these different dashboards. This is something that's going to show when you log into the system. It's going to show on the screen if you have access to that reporting tool. Um, Now we also have over here on the right-hand side on the mobile device, you might notice that I don't have the dashboard, even though I'm logged in with that same user on the device. This is because we recognize if you're signing in through a mobile device versus a full screen. Now, a full screen is going to be like your desktops, your laptops, as well as iPads. Most iPads and high functionality tablets will register as a mobile device, depending on the screen size as well as the processor. And then also for anything smaller, like small tablets, phones, RF devices, those are all going to register as mobile devices. And so not only are we going to have specific groups of menu profiles that you assign depending on what you've signed into JASCI with, But also for the full screen, we're going to be showing you things like the reporting tool, certain pack screens, certain lookups that aren't going to be on the mobile device because there's just not enough real estate on the mobile device to use those screens. So on the mobile device, typically you're going to be doing something like receiving or picking or counting, and you're going to load the mobile workflows just like so. Um, Now we'll go into these workflows on some future webinars and what goes into them. But something I wanted to call out is that these mobile workflows that you're using for various processes, you can also load those on the full screen. You can go in to any of the workflows that we have and process them from a laptop or a desktop. So depending on how you want to access JASCI is completely up to you with what devices that you're using. We have some customers that do certain processes in their aisles with a laptop on a cart and a Bluetooth scanner. So these workflows are designed to be able to register on any type of device. Um, so we talked a little bit about mobile devices. Again, if you want some guidance on which mobile devices are best to use with JASCI, or are good ones to have in your warehouse, reach out to us and we can align you with a partner that we work with, or we can give you recommendations. But our rule of thumb is, as long as you have a device with an internet browser and an internet connection, you should be good to run JASCI. Um, all right, so we have just a few more topics we're gonna talk about. This is a system navigation webinar, so I wanted to go into some of the lookups that we have built in, how the system looks and feels, and then we're going to talk about some of these buttons that we have up top here, especially our Learning Center. So let's talk about the lookups that we have. So one screen that I want to go to just first off is called our work lookup. This is going to be where you can reference just about any type of number or a combination of a work type and status. So JASCI is very big on work. What is work? That's basically any task within JASCI that has to happen or has happened. And each one of those tasks, we give a work control number. And that's a unique identifier to that exact work that either happened or needs to happen. Um, Now, work can be a receipt that you need to perform. It could be that we've downloaded a purchase order, we've turned that into what we call a PO receiving work, and you can start to receive against that PO receiving work. It could be a pick. It could be a cluster of picks that were clustered together if you're picking from a cart, for example. It could be a put away. So work can really be a whole bunch of different types of things, and that's why we have what's called a work type. And you'll see here we have all different types of work types, and we can choose to look up, for example, we can say, hey, do we have any return works that are in a open status? And we can search that. And this is going to show us that, yes, we actually have 6 different returns that we downloaded on this date, which is a very long time ago, that we can still process or that are in an open status. So that's our work lookup by work type and status. But if you know a particular, say, sales order or a PO number, or maybe you have a license plate number that you want to plug in, or an ASN number, or maybe you actually know the exact work control number, here's where you can go in and you can search against those. Now, we'll be talking about LPNs a whole bunch through all of these webinars, and LPNs, JASCI can have at the inventory level, but we also use license plate numbers for work that needs to be performed with putaways, with picks, with loading trucks and such. You're going to see LPN come up a lot, and you can search all work or the current work tied to that LPN. And this is very valuable to do because if you find something that was put down in the improper place in the warehouse, and you need to figure out what this license plate number goes to, you can either come to the desktop version and look it up in the work lookup screen, or you can actually do an LPN lookup from our mobile devices, and you can scan the LPN, and it'll tell you what that work is tied to. Um, Now, this work lookup screen, this is kind of like your basic find anything that you'd like to, but we also have screens that are going to be designed to already show you different combinations of work that's out there. For example, the open receiving. This is going to show us the work type, as I talked about before, PO receiving, and an open status. So this is a pre-made lookup screen that we have that's going to show you by date that it was downloaded or the work was created, how many that you have available to perform. Um, Now, a lot of this information, I'd say our customer base is starting to shift a little bit away from the work lookups and going towards our reporting tool because they can have tailored reports that show them exactly what they want to see in a very fast manner. So we like to give both options here. You can use our lookups to go in and navigate through JASCI to see what you'd like to search different information and look up the work. Or you can go to our reporting tool and build a report with saved filters and columns, things like that, that even will email to you. We're very excited to go into our reporting webinar in the near future. That's probably going to be in about 4 or 5 series from now. And we'll show you all about the tools that we have built into it. So there's a lot of ways to find information within JASCI, especially tied to work. You have the work lookups, you have our reporting tool. We also have a tool called Gravity, which we're going to do a dedicated session on. But Gravity is going to kind of dish up the work for you by profiles that you select. So it'll present you with how many open purchase orders you have or how many open putaways you have. You can create profiles for different types of pick, whether it's by work type or maybe it's by customer, maybe it's by sales channel that it came from, maybe it's by the door that you're going to be loading it to. And you can create all these profiles that tell you how much work, lines, and quantity are across that profile. We'll talk about this a little bit down the road in some of these webinars. Also, the built-in labor management piece of JASCI, where we can not only score, grade employees and track all of the labor they perform, but we can also use it in a predictive manner where we're projecting how much work you have ahead of you by certain profiles. So I'll be very excited to go through that webinar as well. Um, and this is one of the ways that you can do lookups of how much work is out there. Um, Now, we talked a lot about work and finding work within JASCI, but we also might want to be able to look up our location or maybe our product or inventory information. So in here, in our lookups that I have stored under inventory, you could see we could look up by location, we can look up by product. We have some reports that'll show us all of our inventory levels. We have reports that'll show us all of our inventory transactions. Some of these other ones like a status and work type combination are open cycle counts, open location checks, open restocks. So I'm going to go into look up inventory by product. And here's where you can enter the product ID. Maybe you only know the description. Maybe you know a part of the product name. Or maybe you want to look up a product that's tied to an inventory record with a certain LPN or a serial number. For example, I'll go to this product that I always use in my demonstrations because I know I have a lot of it in inventory. And you're going to see here, we have all different areas in my demonstration environment. We could see how much we have in total quantity. We could see the inbound, the outbound, and the available, which essentially means that we're showing you the full scope of what's going on in your areas and also individual locations. We do the same thing for. We'll show you how much is physically there, how much of that is allocated to be picked or moved, how much is going to be put away or replenished into this location, how much is, actively out there that's going to be performed. That's your inbound quantities and your outbound quantities. And then we show you what's available for allocation as well. So you get more of a true picture of your inventory than just a singular number that might be deceiving because you have picks allocated against it, or you think you're low, but you're actually about to have a ton of inventory put away, with the inbound. So we like to give that full view. And you can find that in the, same concept as before. You can go to our lookups and you can look up by product or you can look up by a particular location. And as I mentioned with looking up work and finding work within JASCI, you can also view these things in the reporting tool. So, like I mentioned before, a lot of our customers are kind of switching towards the reporting tool just because it's such a unique and kind of customizable format of viewing data that you want to see at any given point in time. It is a real-time reporting tool, so all of that data within seconds of it occurring within JASCI, whether it's integrated or a transaction being performed, we have that in the reporting tool ready for viewing. We also have these pre-made reports like inventory transaction reports. You can narrow it down by task if you'd like to, but you can specify the date to and from. Like if I show my inventory or the product, if you'd like to see all transactions for a certain SKU. But if I looked at my inventory transactions from the last year, I could see them all here. We'll show you the area it came from, or the area that it occurred in, the location it occurred in, product. We'll say how much there was before, how much there was after. Let me expand this a little bit to show some more of these fields. And we'll also have reference and reason codes. So you can tailor these reference and reason codes to be as transactions that we record within JASCI. A lot of times we're communicating them up to the host system. So you can have reference and reason codes match what you need them to match for your host system to go in the appropriate account for all these inventory transactions. So another example of a lookup that we have there, we have the inventory levels reporting as well. But again, a lot of this stuff is you're starting to see more and more of our customer base use the reporting tool for how they view data within JASCI. If it comes to inventory and location data, I'm a big fan of using the reporting tool. If it comes to work and tasks, and you need to be able to do something about what you found, I'm a big fan of the Gravity Waveless Work Management tool, which we'll be excited to show you in a future webinar. So to wrap up the webinar, the last topic that we're going to cover today is up top here on the full screen. You'll see these different buttons that we have. So JASCI has a language swap, so we are multi-language. We're in over 80 languages, and based on the language that you have set to the team member, you'll have the option to switch between the company language and that team member's language on their screen in case you need to help them but don't speak their language. This toggle will allow you to switch between it. We have that on both the full screen and on the mobile device. We also have the online learning center with this info help button. So when you click that, um, I apologize about that. We're going to go to our learning center. I'll have to check on why that link it doesn't work for me. Actually, you know what? I think it's because that was from the lookup. Let me go back into our company. So you'll see here when you click the info help button, this is going to bring you right to our Learning Center. Now, our Learning Center, this is going to have access to our support team if you need to contact support. We have a built-in ticketing system that all of our customers have access to. We also have all sorts of articles on different elements of JASCI, whether it's, configuring your warehouse within JASCI with our different self-service tools, or maybe it's setting up your integrations, or maybe it's, different workflows related to receiving or put away or inventory management, how to use our reporting tool. We've got all different categories of our system in here. And then we also have on the left-hand side, you could see all of them available in this library. Now, we also are very happy to announce what we put into the system for everybody, as well, whether that's a general system feature or new features or new releases for our APIs, because we always want our customer base to be aware of what's going on out there. And you can actually see by month different functionalities that we're putting into the system. For example, on Tuesday the 18th, we put in one of our new data loader functions, which allows you to upload data directly to JASCI using a template. This is very useful for inventory loads, location loads, LPN loads, anything that you might have had to previously reach out to JASCI for and say, hey, can you load more of these in? Or for some of our 3PL customers, this is how they want to onboard new clients is by using a data load. And you can also use this for orders. If you have clients that have a low enough volume of orders to where you're not doing an integration, you can do this with a data load. So we love to show off new stuff within JASCI. We do that in our learning center. You would just go to the new releases tab that we have. So that's our webinar for today. If you have any other questions on system navigation, like different menu options or profiles I talked about, the dashboards, mobile devices, logging onto the system, please, feel free to submit some questions or reach out to us. You can go to our website, which is jasicloud.com. which you can see here. And you can find out all sorts of information on JASCI, whether it's features about our WMS, what we're doing with robotics, yeah, how you can save money with shipping with JASCI, anything about our integrations or implementation processes. We have it all on there. We're a very transparent company. So if you'd like to learn more about JASCI, feel free to reach out or check us out on the website. So James, I'll pass it back to you and
Perfect.
we can close out the webinar.
Well, thanks, Joe. I appreciate, going through the system navigation there. If there are any questions, feel free to, put them in the chat or reach out to us, via the website or, via mine or Joe's email. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.